The New York Times just dropped a doozy on Graham Platner. 24 people, diaries, texts, emails, the whole works. 3 of his exes paint the same picture: volatile, reckless, demeaning to women. They say he drank heavily, cheated on all of them, even got physical. One woman wrote in her diary 10 years ago, "He's the most toxic, literally abusive man on earth who destroyed my life."
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a massive story for you today because one of the worst Senate candidates that I've seen ran for office, Graham Platner, who's running in Maine against Susan Collins as a Democrat. The New York Times has dropped a massive bombshell highlighting how disgusting this guy is. And instead of condemning Graham Platner, the Democrats are lining up behind him to support him. And this is to show you that the Democrats, they don't care about values. They don't care about any of the things that they always preach. All they care about is getting power and taking power. And the thing is, a lot of them, they're struggling to defend Graham Platner because of how disgusting he is. Let us get into it, starting with this reporting on exactly what's in this bombshell reporting play clip.
The Times speaking with 6 women who have dated Platner. Now, 3 of them described him as a caring partner. But 3 of them described volatile and toxic relationships, including allegations of infidelity, demeaning behavior toward women, heavy drinking, and in one account, physical intimidation. Lindsay Fifield, who dated Platner for about 2 or 3 years, 2013 to 2015, alleges to The Times that Platner grabbed her by the shoulders regularly, sometimes hard enough to leave marks. She also described an argument with Platner where he twisted her arm behind her back, shoving her into a bedroom and holding the door closed so she couldn't get out. Again, that's her account. He strongly disputes the claims.
Based on this reporting by the New York Times, what it sounds like is like Graham Platner is someone that likes to abuse women for some weird, odd reason. And this is the guy that the Democrats, they thought that was a good candidate to run for the Senate, to become a senator. Because eventually when the Democrats and the DNC, they choose someone, what they always do is this thing called opposition research, where they go around, they talk to people, they look into everything regarding the candidate. And for some weird reason, they didn't notice that he had a Nazi tattoo. They didn't notice that he was posting all these racist things online. They didn't notice that he was allegedly abusing women. And let's say the DNC or the Democrats, they didn't find out about it then. Now it's coming to light. What do you think the Democrats are supposed to do? Go out there and condemn it. But no, that is not what you're seeing, because Bernie Sanders is one of the politicians who introduced Graham Platner, and he was asked about all these allegations, and this is what he had to say. Play clip.
Can I ask you, in terms of Graham Platner himself, you're standing by him.
Yes.
This isn't the only issue that has plagued his campaign. There's also the tattoo, the post from online. Are you worried about anything else coming out about him?
I don't know. All I can say is, look, I'm sure he's not a saint. And by the way, let's not forget, he has acknowledged, this guy served 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. He went through some very bloody and horrible situations. He has acknowledged that he came back with PTSD. He had a share of problems.
So let me get this straight, because Graham Platner served in combat, which I do appreciate his service as a veteran myself because I did 10 years in the Marine Corps. Does that mean we should forgive his reprehensible behavior? Does that mean we should forgive him posting racist stuff online, getting a Nazi tattoo? Should we forgive him for allegedly abusing his exes? Shouldn't we try to get him the help? Maybe he has no business running for office. Shouldn't we try to get him the help if that is the cause of all these things that we're seeing? And here we have a video of Graham Platner where he was asked, he was confronted on MSN Now, which is a lightweight interview, because what he was doing as well, he was sexting other women while being married. And this was his response. Play clip.
So this is the first time in my life that Amy and I's marriage has been the interest of people besides Amy and I.
Yes.
And it's definitely a bit jarring, a bit strange.
Yeah.
It's also a marriage that is very strong and that I do believe we deserve some privacy in. I will just say this. At the beginning of our marriage, I made mistakes, and Amy held me accountable for them, and we worked through them.
You're telling me that this guy, Graham Platner, has loyalty issues in his marriage. And how are we going to expect him to go to Washington, D.C. and be loyal to the American people, work for the people of Maine? Because if he's sexting other folks or other women, allegedly, which is a sign of disloyalty, How can we expect him to work on behalf of the American people? You just cannot. And if you don't know what sexting is, it's basically whenever you send like nudes or provocative images or texts and stuff like that to other people. That's what sexting is, because I know a lot of people might not know what that is. But let's not digress, because here we have Hakeem Jeffries, where he was confronted about Graham Platner, and this is what sleazy Timo Obama had to say. Play clip.
In terms of the allegations that have been waged with respect to this particular candidate for the Senate, I haven't followed it closely. I will continue to defer to Leader Schumer and Senator Gillibrand in terms of the best path forward in Maine. I haven't had a conversation with Ro Khanna about this.
That was Timo Obama, also known as Hakeem Jeffries, being asked about Graham Platner and this bombshell reporting. And what sleazy Timo Obama is going to say, I direct you to the Senate Minority Leader, which is Chuck Schumer, and we're going to play his response in a bit. But this is to show you that the Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, they're straight up hypocrites. Because if this was a Republican, he'd be calling them a Nazi, he'd be calling them all types of names. And here we have Chuck Schumer being asked about Graham Platner, and this was his response. Play clip.
Breaking news just happening moments ago here. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is now backing Graham Platner and confirming that he did meet with the embattled Maine Senate candidate earlier today. Listen to this.
You have not said if you're still endorsing Graham Platner. Are you still supporting Graham Platner?
As I said, I endorsed Graham Platner. We're going to beat Susan Collins and take back the Senate.
That was Chuck Schumer, one of the Democrats on Capitol Hill, who likes to scream Jim Crow, racism, democracy ending, and all these different things. Likes to call Republicans Nazis, but here he is supporting someone, Graham Platner, who's online trashing black folks, trashing women, who's allegedly abusing the woman in his life. And this is to show you that the Democrats are straight up hypocrites. They don't care about the things that they preach. They don't care about any values at all. All they care about is power. And here we have CNN on that very same matter discussing why the Democrats, they were willing to get rid of Eric Swalwell, but Graham Platner is a completely different case. Watch this clip.
I just asked the question again, why did Democrats push Swalwell off the ledge and rally around Platner? I'll explain to you why. Because in California, you can run any Democrat to win, and they'll just plug some other person in and they'll win. In Maine, they're fearful that if somebody else runs, they're going to lose to Susan Collins. So they're willing to accept this terrible person who's lied at every part, every turn. He's lied about how his house is financed. He's lied about his business. He's lied about his tattoo. He's lied about his relationship with women. Everything he's done has been a lie, and so he's got to go.
I agree. Graham Platner has to go because Graham Platner cannot be the best that Maine has to offer. And Graham Platner, as a politician, he's supposed to reflect his voters. And one of the reasons why the Democrats were so keen to essentially nominate Graham Platner is because they thought he was a masculine man. And because the Democrats, they've been doing a terrible job with electing men that reflects the masculinity of a majority of Americans, which has turned out to be a huge mistake. And here is Graham Platner being asked about this matter. Play clip.
You represent masculinity in certain ways. The Democrats have trouble connecting with male voters. Describe the masculinity that you represent.
I think it's just a healthy form of it, which is, look, I mean, I lift weights. I shoot guns. My background is obviously in the military. I work outside. Most of my hobbies are things that people tend to associate with like manly stuff, I guess. At the exact same time, I go to therapy. I have a very open sort of dialogue and emotional relationship with my wife.
That was Graham Platner being asked about being the masculine representative for the Democrats, because we know the Democrats, they have an issue when it comes to masculinity. But the thing is, they rush to nominate this guy, Graham Platner, all because he looks somewhat masculine, he looks a little bit rugged. But this guy, in reality, is a troubled man. He's a guy with a Nazi tattoo. He's a guy who's allegedly abusing women, who's been saying all these racist things online. This is not masculinity at all. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Graham Platner should essentially drop out of the race right now? Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.